right, looks like we're into draft. Vayne ban first. Uh, Nothing like a bronze Vayne to get us started in the day, am I right?
Yes, hello Fares. Welcome to game one here at the Pepega Quarantine Cup 2-day series coming out with you. This is going to be thick and fast. Lots of BO3s to get played today for
Hopefully we
a
get to a
spot in the
nemesis draft.
playoffs tomorrow. Yes, and if they do get to that Silver Scrape game 3, we will see that nemesis draft coming out, Fares. Very excited to hopefully see one of that as we do progress through these games. Two teams coming at you right now. My mum brought orange slices in the blue side, and on the red here, we do have Melon Boys.
Exactly, Rook. And we have some interesting bans here. We were talking about it before the game. The Syndra ban, we expected this. Pantheon and the Warwick ban, we expected this. I wasn't expecting the Jhin ban. We'll see how that goes. And first pick Ornn, one of the strongest tanks in the meta now.
Strong and staple, still scaling up into those items, getting those masterwork items, very reliable for the team and that front line with that engage. Victor potentially going to be picked up here, blind picked in the mid lane. Could be against Orianna. We actually were talking a little bit about that in draft. Fairly similar champ pools in the mid lane as well. Warwick, we mentioned as a particular pickup there. We have a little bit less data here on the Melon Boys, so we'll have to see. They're going to be very flexible with their drafts coming out as well. Maybe see a Wukong, as we do see Mr. Anonymous playing that. But he's playing mid lane today, so we'll have to see how it goes.
Yep, and it looks like the Kha'Zix picks. Oh, it's actually the Lee Sin. Nothing like the kind of champ to go in, go hard. And we have a set pick. Do you think this is going to be a set jungle, a set support?
Very flexible. You can actually run that with the Senna. That can be very nice in the bot lane, Fares. You get a nice little bit of sustain there as well. And you can just provide that route to allow that gap close movement speed of the set to be able to get that sort of range stun coming into there. Potentially a Braum here, but the Wukong potentially going to get picked up. That will potentially be in the top lane, but Mr. Anonymous have played a little bit of that, so definitely all to play for.
Yeah, I mean, Wukong is strong right now. The new reworked version of him does give him a lot of strength with the double ult, the passive armor and MR. And so, he's a lot stronger than he was a couple patches ago, and so we'll see how this goes. And then we have a Kai'Sa ban. Not too sure why they're banning 80 carries when they've already seen the Senna set, but maybe they think it's a Senna support.
Yeah, I also think that maybe with this top lane Ornn and the set, which either could be jungle or in the support role, maybe Mr. Borg will have to play a little bit more of an aggressive mid laner, something with a lot of damage to be able to take use of that Ornn tankiness and really provide that backline fire. Because although Senna can scale up with those souls, it's not exactly burst damage that's really coming out of her. And they're probably going to need something ideally like that Cassiopeia or like a Rise or something that can really do that sustained damage to balance that out would be fantastic.
And there goes the Sylas ban. I mean, that's probably a target. Sylas is pretty strong, especially with the likes of Wukong, Lee Sin, Victor. All those ults would be fantastic to steal. And let's see what the last ban for Orange Slices is going to be. And it's the Victor, Vel'Koz. They don't want to have to get that poke in the bot lane, potentially, or in the mid lane. Try and get a little safe down there. We'll see what the first pick this second side of the draft is.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that Victor will be in at least a solo lane, so we will see that Vel'Koz potentially being aligned to that support ban for Boots No JS. Isan going to pick up his Jinx. He pretty much is solely a Jinx and Vayne player. They already banned out the Vayne, so Jinx is sort of next go-to target into that. Nice scaling available to them. They are playing very creative and loose with this draft, though. They'd have a lot of engaged frontline. Mechanical plays are going to need to be made to get around this tanks. And going to be that Orianna there in the mid lane, so looking for that wombo combo, potentially with that Ornn engage or the set.
And we really expected that coming into this draft, didn't we? And there comes the Jarvan, potentially. Oh. And kind of on the Jinx point, it is going to be the Jarvan lock-in. And on the Jinx point, with Vayne, you're a little slippier than Jinx. But we have this insane wombo combo team coming out from Orange Slices. I'm worried that the Jinx might be a little bit in danger here. But then we have the Braum for some protection. Braum is fantastic into Ornn. You just block that ult the second it comes out with the Unbreakable. And it does look like it's going to be either a set support or it could be an orange support. You don't know.
Yeah, they aren't quite in order there, but Anne Peggy is the support player and is going to be playing that center. So we will see that potentially with Calvin Cookie in the bot lane as well. Going to be that Oriana mid on top and Jarvan in the jungle. Very nice, easy to execute wombo combo team fight style that they have going on. Get that big explosive shockwave and that shielding coming out from center as well, just to bolster those tank defenses. Whereas you have a little bit more of a creative draft here coming out with the Melon boys. They're going to have to execute well and potentially see if they can get a lead into the late game and potentially play around vision, because they don't really want to take that full force of that one-on-one team fight in the river.
Right. And, you know, let's hope for the best for both teams going into game one. Am I right?
Yeah, exactly, Faraz. We will take a short break as we do have that spectator delay coming into there. So we'll be right back with game one of the Quarantine Cup here at Pepega. Yeah.
Yep, I'm too.
Hello and welcome back to the Quarantine Cup here at Pepega. We are looking forward to this. Getting onto the riff right away here with Fahez. A little bit of an invade maybe coming out here for Melon boys, but they just decide to back off. A little bit of a stack there in the bot lane. Wukong coming to the lane a little bit late, working on that Doran's Blade, looking for that advantage against all in the early game.
Exactly, and we'll see how these lanes go. We were talking a little bit after the draft that it's going to be a lot about the early game here for Melon boys. Their early game draft is pretty susceptible to ganks, especially the Jinx, the Victor. Neither very mobile, while we have the Jarvan, a power jungler these days. Really trying to see where this goes in the early game, see if, Melon boys can execute on their little bit more difficult draft.
Yeah, exactly. Fahez starting in the bot side for both teams here as well. Do have that support item onto the center, so just looking to scale up nicely in there with the stacks, be able to free farm that with the souls that you get extra from the minions as well. Very nice, means that you can group with that ARAM style as well, potentially expecting that Trinity Force to come out first item for Calvian Cookie as well in the bot lane, playing that more sort of like AD carry type role. Very much swap that around. So we'll see how well they can free farm in the bottom lane.
Right, the fasting Senna pick is what's popular these days after the nerfs, and so we'll see if she's able to really take advantage of that. That being said, they are against a Jinx Braum. Braum is such a strong support these days. It's so hard to fight with the unbreakable and the concussive blow shots. It's difficult.
Yeah, if he gets up that shield, he can actually stop the pathing of the ball, so you could get a little bit of displacement there. So the shockwave might not be on point. Have to see whether or not they can work around those cooldowns nicely.
Right, and we're having a little bit of a trade top here between Muffin and I'm Here Again. Nothing too serious, Orin likes to trade early with the...
A little bit of a root down onto the bot lane. Stun as well, a little bit of a follow-up, but obviously... the Braum has those tanky stats, can just retreat back to his lane as well.
Right, and we have a gank top here
up
from Boots.
Into the top one. Boots no JS. He's got the red buff. He's got the burn, and that'll be Fast Blood going over to Boots no JS.
I'm Here Again did flash, the auto doesn't stop just because you're flashing. And, oh, there we go. Another stun in the bottom lane by Calvin Cookie. Tons of fighting in this early game. And we have a small invade here into the...
Oh, the Flag and Drag actually gets a knock up onto Boots no JS. The flank coming out here for Ornn. Oriana's on the warpath. Flash away there from Boots no JS.
Good job from the blue side team. Really kind of salvaging that gank top. Getting some pressure off the Lee Sin. We see him pathing top once more. Oh, he's just recalling. But now... we'll see if Jarvan is able to make something happen here.
This is a big minion wave as well. He does miss the Flag and Drag. Now he's a little bit exposed. He's going to have to flash away. Muffin flashes as well. Secures the kill there. This is a lot of minions onto I'm Here Again. Double going over to Wukong, and that is what they needed in this early game. Melon boys showing prowess at the start.
No, Boots no JS. That's the Lee Sin you want on your team, not the other way around.
Happening very thick and fast here. Fahez in the early game. Wukong needed that early lead, secures it. Already has a bounty on his head 4 minutes into the game.
Right. It's impressive what they have going on here. And let's see what Wukong is able to buy on his first back. No,
he's going to be a first by Blade the Rune King.
Yeah, I mean, that's really popular these days. Blizzards are really enjoying the Blade pickup. And there it is. There's the Vamp Scepter. We'll see what happens from here.
Such a wonderful trank shredding item now, particularly into that on pick. He's going to need that to be able to sustain that advantage. Probably Blade the Rune King into that Black Cleaver could be a wonderful build path for him. Has that accelerated build path as well, as he's really been attributed all of this support from Boots No JS in the top.
Right, and you know, Orange Slices, they were so close to one of those kills at least, and maybe one kill happened to get Triumph. You're able to close both, but you know, at the end of the day, Melon's got it, and now with the Wukong being 2-0, we'll see if he can carry this early game into the mid game.
Boots No JS making his way down to the bot lane as well. The center manages to get behind Calvi and Cookie. Flashes away as well, stops the gank in its tracks.
Good job from them. You know, it's pretty difficult to keep up with the Elysian that gets ahead. Once he's a little bit ahead, he's able to run over the early game. He's invading you. He's taking all of your camps. He's pretty much in every lane just because he clears the camp so quickly with a couple of AD items, and then he just runs from lane to lane until his camps are back up. We have a little bit of trading going on in the top lane, but it's nothing too serious. Once the Ornn picks up some armor items, it may slow down a little bit, but we'll see. Especially with the Vamp Scepter able to heal back up after every trade by just autoing some minions. And we see we have
a big wave top lane, and I'm thinking that Boots No JS maybe could look to dive this as well, potentially with that level 6 Wukong. If you can deny that level 6 from the Ornn on this dive, this could actually be massive. He is now pathing to the top side. Java not really respecting that, is low, so gonna have to base. A little bit of an invade coming out of here for Boots No JS. So looking around it, I think they are actually posturing for this.
Right. At least Boots did walk over a ward though, so we'll see if I'm Here Again's ready for this gank. You know, Boots actually leaves. With the level 6 Wukong though, I mean, landing all of the abilities.
Oh, he's got in for the ult. The knockup's there. I'm Here Again having to go back to his tower. The second knockup as well. That's the rework Wukong. Muffin exploding into the early game.
Right, and we were talking about it. An early game lead, you want to take that into the mid game. You want to make sure you're taking all the benefits you got from those ganks early on and really benefit your team. And now we see that Wukong picked up the Tiamat. Now he can just start shoving that lane in and maybe seeing to roam into the mid lane, potentially get leads there. We'll see where that goes. The rest of the map is pretty quiet. The bot lane's pretty even in CS. You know, you have to really look at the set versus the Jinx instead of the normal Senna versus Jinx. They're pretty much even, which is good to see. Jarvan is taking the dragon. Boomslang sneaks a dragon from the enemy team. Wow. With all the pressure that Boots had in the early game, I'm surprised they were able to do that.
Yeah, they also haven't based in bot lane as well. 8 minutes into the game, they're sitting on a lot of gold here, so can't really contribute too much if a fight comes out. Boots No JS looking for Boomslang. He's secured the Q over the wall as well. Orianna there gets the shockwave. That'll be secured over to Jarvan. Boomslang on the board.
Yeah, Boomslang making great work of this, 8-minute mark. Takes the dragon, doesn't invade, gets a kill with the help of his mid laner. You know, that's what we're looking for in these early games. And they're looking to get to that team fight stage. And yes, the early game was a little bit weaker than we wanted, but we'll see if they're able to transition that a little bit better in the coming minutes.
Yeah, a little bit of a catch-up here. They're trading a lot away in the middle there. Boomslang has to retreat away. Playing on the weak side here in the top. He kind of needs to play around the bottom. A little bit of a passive route there onto Mr. Anonymous. They're going forward, the double knock-up. Cavan Cookie, then the shields come out here. The set is massive. The stuns are big. They're going forward. He explodes forward. Etan has to run. Shields going there, and Peggy just providing the backline access. And they go forward, secure over aggression, and that was all started by Mr. Anonymous going forward.
Right, and sometimes you really do think with all the engage tools that Braum has, you're just gonna run over every fight you take, but at the end, Calvin Cookie just suplexed the Jinx out of away from her support, smacked her down, and that was it. That was fantastic play from the blue side bot lane. And they're kind of making her.
Sorry.
No, they're kind of making a recovery in this bot lane. Through the bot lane, through the mid lane plays, kind of making up for that early game deficit.
Yeah, another issue that I saw, Fares, is that the base damage on set is so high that when you haven't base as the Jinx, you just can't play aggressively like that. The Braum isn't going to be able to provide too much DPS in that. You could just see the set survived for so long, and all you have is Asturian's Blade. You just need to wait for that BF sword, and then maybe look to make that play, have that burst damage to be able to survive, and they just didn't have the back timing to do that.
Right, you know, Jinx is a scaling champion. Her early game is very weak. And yes, it can be sort of salvaged with the Braum pick, but a lot of times you're not looking to fight in the early game as Jinx. You're just looking to CS as best you can before those mid-game fights start. And, you know, punishing that before the back was very good by the bot lane, by the orange slice bot lane. So we'll see if they're able to take more advantage in the bot lane. Again, the CS is still fairly even, but the CS and gold is recovering from the early game.
Yeah, a little bit silent here from Muffin into the top wave. Finished off that TM8, just looking to push the waves and maybe look to roam mid into this Orianna. Now got that shockwave back, having used that in the bottom side of the river. Lots of vision here coming out. 4 orange slices in the bottom lane, so they have a nice control. They're looking to come forward as well. Boomslang just providing that. Gonna cancel out a little bit of vision if he can. Can't quite finish off that horde. Procs a little bit of the mastery. Now walking forward. This is a big lead here for Calvi and Cookie in the bot lane.
Right, and that's what you want with these Senna plus Bruiser picks. You want that Bruiser to be accelerated into the mid game. They wouldn't normally get in a solo lane, and you know, Senna's going to scale one way or the other, so we'll see if this bot lane is able to transition. That's the big thing. And we see a little invade by Boots, taking the Wolf camp, taking the Krugs, but he might be looking to dive top after this camp. We'll see. Blue side does have a lot of vision in their blue side jungle. You know, the pink, the river's covered. That being said, we do have one pink by the blue buff, and we'll see if that's amounts to anything in the long run.
Yeah, a little bit quiet in the mid lane, but here comes BootsNoJS trying to look for that.
See if he's able to do anything.
Can't find it. But
yeah,
farming heavily in this mid. The CS numbers are high. They are just trading it, and as probably should, as both of these champions just trying to scale up nicely into the mid game.
Right, I mean, it's 2 control mages. You're not expecting these, you know, assassin fights that you would normally see in the mid lane. Boomslang did try and make a little lane gank bot, but he walked over a ward, and so that kind of got, you know, sequestered pretty quickly. And now we see a little bit of warding done by the orange slice bot lane.
Yeah, Cloud Drake has now spawned here, wrestling for control into this bottom wave, but it's the push here coming out with this Tiamat on Calvi and Cookie. Now they're looking to go onto BootsJS. Has to flash away from the knockup. Control wrestled over.
Was able to get away. That does give pressure away to the the blue side team. Orange Slice is able to get priority on this dragon.
A little bit of a flank here from BootsNoJS. He actually procs the Rift Herald in slightly awkward space. He doesn't have flash now. The Cataclysm is down, and that comes the center ult coming in, and Peggy gets on the board there. They can potentially collapse.
You know, I'm not too sure what that was with the whole Rift Herald. Sometimes you just got to put it down. It's about to despawn. Sometimes you're just not sure what you want to be doing with it. And now we see that Jarvan is on that Cloud Dragon, trying to pick up some early Drakes for his team. We'll see if they're able to transition this, you know, what they've got going on early into the mid game, because looking at it, the blue side team is recovering from that massive deficit made by the Lee Sin in the early game.
Yeah, exactly. It's been a little bit quiet now in the top lane. Orange starting to slowly free farm, sort of maintain that lead, but is it enough coming into that? Hydra now finished as well.
Right, you know, we were thinking that was going to be a Blade of the Rune King, but it turned into a Hydra. I'm not too sure if I agree with that pick or that item choice, but what can we do about that? And I mean, looking at this early game, right, we had some early ganks into the top side, and then, you know, after a couple of those, nothing happened with top. There were no more repeat ganks, and that kind of gave Ornn the time to pick up some armor items, really, do Ornn things, not die, and just get into those mid-game fights where he's going to be throwing that ram down into the enemy team.
Yeah, exactly. Fire's looking for that. And one thing that I would say is that the usefulness of Merc Treads with this team, there's so many knockups and displacements with that Shockwave, with the Ornn knockups, obviously that with the Boomslang Jarvan as well, and the set Duplex. So there's so much mobility that almost Merc Treads don't really help you in all these airborne situations.
Right, and
Oh, BootsNoJS going to get Shockwave and the knockup. Wonderful combo there.
Exactly, that's what we wanted from the Orianna. We wanted that Shockwave use in conjunction with the Jarvan. That's what the team picked it for. And Boomslang is a highlight for this team so far. Making great use. Oh, and there goes the Scuttle Crab to the victor.
Melon or Solit, can he get out with a little bit of a trade there?
Yes, yeah, a little bit of poke from the Orianna, but great little steal. Tilting Boomslang a little, it seems, with that flag and drag, but we'll see if they go anywhere. Now the bot lane is rotated top to take this Rift Herald. Great choice, trying to move away from the bottom side of the map, give Ornn some time down there as well. And Red Team had an early Rift, and they didn't do much with it. I think they got one perk of it on the mid tower, but we'll see if Orange Slices is able to do a little bit more with that. First tower does go to Melon Boys, taking down that bot lane tower. And it looks like they are popping the Rift Herald immediately in the mid lane.
Yeah, Muffin looking for a big triple knock up there as well. He's in the front. Now they're going for BootsNoJS into the back line. Forces the flash out of Mr. Ball. Now he gets suplex into the back. He's overexposed himself, and Ampegi will pick that up on a BootsNoJS.
Did you see the shields in that fight? They thought they had him with the Wukong. Muffin straight into that fight. Fantastic 3-man ult, but you just see the Senna shield, you see the Orianna shield, you see the Set shield come out, and there's no way you're killing any of them. And that's the power of this team. It's not difficult, it's simple. It's you just got shields that are going to make team fighting much easier than you can hope for.
Yeah, exactly, Faraz. You did say that slightly riskier comp here coming out for Melon Boys, as we do have a little bit of a pause, but that will be very momentary. And with the scaling, you feel that maybe this 2k gold lead that they've accrued for themselves might not be enough. Victor 0-0-0 on the scoreboard, farmed up nicely, but hasn't really had an impact. We saw that wonderful engage there by Muffin, but BootsNoJS going a bit more forward. You mentioned the shields. They just have so many tank stats now at their disposal. With the shielding stats as well, they can really force these team fights coming into the mid-game.
One of the strengths of Set, you always hear about the big throwing the tank into the enemy team and just one-shotting them. But the other strength is really just, why not just put the enemy carries into your team? And so that's what happened with Calvin Cookie. He threw the Lee Sin right back into the carries, waiting arms to just be killed. And so Senna's now 2-0-1. We have the mid laner Orianna at 1-0-2. Yes, the Ornn is still 0-3, but Ornn's going to be useful eventually anyway. And so that's not an issue here. And
also, the longer this game does go, it does mean that you will get those masterwork items coming in there. So another sort of like 3-4k gold sort of injected into the side here of Orange Slices.
Right, and something to think about, that in reality, the Muffin boys, they're almost all AD. Victor's their shining AP light in that mid lane. And so once the Ornn gets going with all these items, we do have a Shockwave mid. Not going to do too much, just onto the Braum after he had his Aftershock proc, or he had Guardian, I'm sorry. Just had a little bit of a trade there, but kind of as I was saying, if Victor doesn't really get ahead, all the enemy team has to do is itemize for armor. And so that may be a bit of an issue.
Muffin forcing the flash out top lane as well, but the face check here for Mr. Ball, the passive is on, he's going to get stunned up, the Zonius is there. Calvanic Cookie, what can he get done in the mid? Now they're going forward, the shields are there, but BootsNoJS gets the first kill onto Mr. Books. Suplex backwards, Cookie has to run. Will he be able to escape? No, when there's a double kill over to BootsNoJS. That is the Infernal Dragon going over to Melon Boys.
Right, we were talking about how important the simplicity of the teamfight was, but when you just get caught out like that, what are you going to do? And especially with the Braum, the concussive blows, once you get stunned, you're in such a difficult position. And there was a little bit of a mistiming with the Senna ult that wasn't able to get the shield onto the Orianna before she went down. And, just great pickoffs for the Muffin boys, able to get that Infernal Dragon afterwards, pressure mid lane, able to get this tower, and so we'll see.
Yeah, Faraz, we also talk about that wombo combo, but we saw that shockwave used only moments before, and it was just onto the fairly tanky bomb there, Mr. Anonymous. So didn't really get a lot of value out of that, and then they looked to contest with that Infernal, didn't have that superior cooldown available to them, and just fell a little bit short there.
Right. I'm not sure if this will be indicative of the rest of the fights upcoming. I think there just needs to be a little bit better vision from the blue side if they're going to make these kinds of plays. Trying to not face check when you're one of the carries.
Oh, Muffin looking for the mid tick, goes on to Cookie. The root will go wide there for Peggy. Boots No J has shown that he just isn't tanky at the moment. He doesn't have any MR against Orianna, and she has farmed very well in the mid.
Right. I mean, all you have is a tabbies. What is that going to protect you from the Ori ball? One shockwave we saw earlier and just you blow up. And so we'll see if they start itemizing to protect themselves from this Orianna. It may have to come down the road, especially with how ahead she is. And that's going to make it difficult for the rest of the team because you want to be itemizing that armor for the Senna, for the set, the J4, but we'll see if they're able to get those items in before any critical team fights. Orange Slice is just running down that mid tab. They didn't have to do much for it.
Yeah, the Wukong kind of came in, then went back up top. They used that window to be able to secure themselves the objective of that mid tower. What do you think about these double Glacial Shrouds coming out? Fairly cheap cooldown reduction, but it is a unique passive, so they won't stack.
Maybe he may be going for just two items that build it, but I'm not too sure I'm a fan of this. You may be wanting to go for redemption afterwards, so there may be other buys you can do. And like you said, the unique passive point, there's some lost stats here. And at the end of the day, that's a pog for me. We'll see if he's able to use those items, or that may have just been a mistake. Who knows? Maybe he didn't realize he had one.
Oh, Boomslanger's on the flank. He's looking out for Muffin. Going to be able to put the flag down, maybe get over the wall. Muffin playing a little bit of ring around the rosy here. Gets the knock up. Calvi and Cookie there, but Senna secures it. It's a four-man stack onto the top, though. They're looking to trade this Baron. Massive four-man shockwave comes out. Absolutely obliterates the enemy. Melon Boys having to run. The Baron call was wrong. Essen having to run away. Red buff, though, gets the slow here. I'm here again. Lands the triple. Welcome to the game.
And I was talking about Orange just always being good regardless of what happens, and that was a great situation. But I mean, I can't even talk about the Ornn in this fight. What a fantastic shockwave by Mr. Borg. Catching four of them on the Baron, absolutely obliterating them, just sending them back to their base. That was a missed Baron call. That's what we call a dig Baron, if I say so myself, just throwing the game away in there. Because, the red team had that fantastic early game, camping top, a little bit of a slowdown, and then they were almost making a recovery. But after this may be the nail in the coffin. The blue team has finally been able to recover the gold deficit from the early game too, and now they even have a slight gold lead. And so, with the simplicity of the team fights coming in and the armor being built by Ornn now, I'm starting to worry for Melon Boys.
Yeah, particularly, we have 69 souls connected here for Peggy as well. You kind of want to hit that 80 mark to really feel good about your range. Once you start hitting that 120, 140, it just becomes absolutely immense. So the late game only favors this sort of team fight ball that they have. Picking up that fight as well. Dragon coming up in 40 seconds. They're going to be looking to set up for that. Control the vision. TP available for I'm Here Again as well. So the world is that oyster right now.
Exactly, and the Wukong went lethality this game, and while that's fantastic, the team of squishies, we were talking about the importance of the Blade of the Rune King into
Calvin Cookie put out a little bit. The shields are going to have to come out very big. Muffin gets suplexed back into the team. The knockup is there onto two. Calvin Cookie surviving through all of it. Finally going to go down, but Mr. Anonymous is going to die in the process. Now Peggy going forward onto Boots. Nice kick to try and disengage. The flash forward from Mr. Ball. Can't quite secure the kill. He's trying to run it down. Not going to be able to complete on that, though. I'm Melon Lord just not in the fight. That's going to be Dragon going over here to Orange Slices.
I'm not a huge Orianna player, but I feel like he shortened his ball a little there at that after that flash. But fantastic team fight from Orange Slices. They thought they caught out Calvin Cookie, and it's a set. You got all these tank stats. You got the massive W shield that comes out and just blows people up, and then straight with the ult into the enemy team. That's what you want from your set. You want them to delay time for your carries to just wipe. And between the Orianna,
maybe caught out a little bit, gets that flag of drag, but not going to be secured. Boots no JS manages to secure that for the team. Nice little bit of a reprieve here as the Baron is slowly going to run out.
Yeah, nice little shutdown onto the Lee. May not be fine, no kills, 3 assists, but you'll take what you can get in this mid game.
Something to know is that Calvi and Cookie playing so defensive as a root does come onto Jojoneus. He's probably going to fall. Peggy has to be able to kite backwards though. Boots.js finds the Q, gets the kick back. Now Calvi and Cookie has to run away. Suplexes into 2, but Mr. Boggs there for the cleanup. Muffin going to fall as well.
That's the perk of lethality Wukong. You may not be killing the Ornn, you may not be killing the J4, but that Senna's easy pickings for you. And maybe that's why he wanted to do it. He didn't think he was ever going to kill the Ornn, the Set, all of them anyway, so might as well just try and blow up the enemy carries. And yeah, they traded too, but you shouldn't be trading when you're this far ahead as Orange Slices are. You want to be dominating the rest of this game.
Yeah, Calvin Cookie building so defensively as well. Finishing that Titanic Hydra. Now stacking up that Durham Smith as well. He's looking to convert that. So many shields. A Systeric Dage will just amplify that so much.
Right, I mean, kind of as I was talking about, Calvin just needs to not die in these fights. Get off a good shield, get off that stun, get off the suplex. And then once he's done with that, everything after that's just trying to be a stun bot for the rest of the fight. And you don't need damage for that. You have the damage coming from the Orianna, the Senna. And we see Ornn has hit level 14. Which means Masterwork items are being distributed out.
Peggy playing with fire here on the front line. Has to play a little bit reserved. Also missed 3 souls in the mid as the observer did just show us that. Now they're engaging. I'm here again. Looking to front line. Gets the shields as well. Melon looking for a little bit of action on the side. Can Muffin look for a flank? Don't think they're going to follow through that choke point though. A little bit of a disengage.
And the Ornn ult did come out. That's the thing with Ornn. There are ways to stop his ult from being useful. We have the Braum shield, and we just saw the Victor W just stopping anything from happening there. And, what do you think about the Ornn picking up the redemption himself?
I potentially like it, but here comes the massive engage. Muffin has to flash forward, but he just goes into the Cataclysm. He goes into the meat grinder. Now they're looking to go forward. Boomslang gonna fall. Melon has to flash backwards as well. Mr. Anonymous gonna get picked up there by Gavan and Cookie. But in the back line, it's the 2v1. It's the tank himself. I'm here again. Just buying time here. Etta now has to run for himself. Boots no JS. Just playing the tricky plays. Trying to get in and out. Threading in the needle. I'm here again on the front line. He's gonna fall. Melon Lord manages to pick that up for his team as Etta now back to the grinder. And Boots no JS playing that fight very on the edge of himself and manages to get his 2 carries out.
Right, slipping and sliding with all the mechanics of Lee Sin from your Lee Sin player. Going in and out using his cooldowns effectively. And kind of as I was talking about earlier, Victor has to be the carry on this team with how easily armor should be itemized by the Orange Slice team. And you saw how quickly he melted the Ornn in that fight. Just 1E, 1Q, and the Ornn was dead. And we did see the benefit of the redemption by a little bit in that fight. He did only use it on himself, but you can see the idea behind it.
Yeah, they're playing very sort of reservedly with their items. Usually you see that Abyssal Mask picked up for that sustain with the stats as well. You get a little bit more HP and missing a lot of magic resist as Salvation just doesn't have that awarded to him. He doesn't really have any magic resist in his kit right now, so you did see that Victor manages to shred him down, maybe looking to build that slowly into that Catalyst of the Eons.
Right, and we did just see a Bramble Vest pickup. He's just not scared of the Victor. I'm sure he's thinking, I just ignore the Victor and try and just dive onto the Jinx, because what is the Jinx gonna do against the tanky Ornn? You don't have the tools you need to kill him this early into the game. That being said, Jinx is at 3 items, and that's where you want to be with Jinx, especially with the rapid fire Hurricane combo. You just sit in the back and spam rockets. And so we'll see if they're able to utilize those items in the coming fights.
Muffin might be caught out here on the back line. He's gone absolutely, but it's into the front here as well. I am here again. Suplex down onto Mr. Anonymous. He's going to be the first to fall. Now they're looking to re-engage. Boots.no.js gets Cataclysm and the kick backwards instantaneously. Victor also putting out the cloud. Another Q resonates there. Looks to get the root. Peggy now going aggressively onto the Lee Sin. Boots.no.js has to run from the Glacial Center. But this should be Soul Infernal going over here to Mum for Orange Slashes.
Yeah, with how ahead they are now, all this dragon is going to do is just propel them into the end of the game, hopefully. And, that fight was super disjointed. The Ornn did miss his ult, but after the suplex went out, there's no front line once the Braum is dead for this team. And at that point, their carries are just getting run down by the J4 and the Orianna. And so once that Braum goes down, it's very difficult for this Melon team to team fight. And so we'll see if they're able to get any reprieve, see if maybe they can trade a Baron later in this game to try and recover from what's going on.
Actually gets a knock up. He's already used his invis. He's just going to go down. Muffin playing very creatively here. He couldn't quite find the flank what he needed to, and this will be the Baron going over potentially. The fight is going to be there. Boomslang just secures the plant back into the pit. Nice little split there. Taking a lot of damage though. He has to actually get out of there, but Melon in the front. Mr. Borg as well forces the flash out of that. He's still got the barrier if he needs to. Now looking to re-engage. Pepega going forward. The root as well. That'll be Boots.no.js falling as well. The flash rod aggressively here for Boomslang onto Eten. That'll be another kill. That's an ace, a whitewash here for Orange Slices, as they'll probably go back to the Baron. They have minions in the mid as well. Mr. Morgan looks to push that in. They can split the resources here and get it all.
They had a little bit of hesitation there on what they wanted doing in terms of where they wanted to go with the Baron, or if they wanted to take the Baron and just rush down the mid lane. And fantastic team fight. Victor thought he had maybe been able to poke out a little bit from over the wall. Like I said, there's not a lot of MR being built to the team, but once the Victor is gone, or if he's unable to make anything happen, no one can kill these tanks. And from there, mid tower's gone. They're resetting after that Baron. And this Baron may be the nail in the coffin.
Yeah, I think we have maybe a Guardian Angel getting picked up here for Etan, but he probably needs that tank shredding availability. We'll see if he end up going that slightly more route with that Last Whisper, picking up into that. And as you say, the kills just haven't gone over to Melon right now, so he is a little bit behind the curve, trying to finish off his third item of that Zhonya's. So slowly building into it, but it is slow progress. Now that Abyssal Moss, now that Magic Resist comes through for I'm Here Again.
Right, and now I'm just concerned for Melon boys. How are they going to kill this Ornn? He's just going to be running at your team. He's so ahead. He is 8-4-5 after the abysmal early game going 0-3. But, Ornn is just Ornn. You don't have to do a lot. You just end up scaling and killing people. The tank, brother, assassin, mage, engager, whatever, just really is just so strong in this meta.
They could maybe look for a 5-man in the mid lane. Ornn does have TP, but he would be arriving a little bit late for Buddy. They call off the play. Definitely looking for something. They need that last hope available to them.
Right, and they just have to sit. There isn't a lot of wave clear on this team outside of, I guess there is. With the Jinx, with the Victor E, there's a lot they can do, and hopefully they can keep Orange Slices at bay a little longer. But there goes that tower. Now that there's an exposed inhib, we'll see if they're able to finish this game off. They have the Soul, they have the Baron. Yeah, they're doing a bit of a split.
Sticking as a 4-man unit though, but whenever Wukong leaves the lane, he really needs to try and like force something in the mid. Mustaborg actually goes very, very low here. Has to be careful now. Still has that barrier available to him, so could bait his health bar a little bit. Shockwave onto Boots No JS, but he manages to secure himself out of that as well. The root, massive knockup. This is a big barrage coming out. Cookie gets a horrendously large shield as well. This is a win here. Coming out for Melon Lords. They all couldn't get into the fight as well. Manages to secure the Call of the Forge God, but to no avail.
What a team fight. I mean, Ornn wasn't there. Ornn was still in the bot lane when that fight got started, and he only was able to get a bit of the Call of the Forge God in at the end, but you can't be fighting without your front line. And yes, you have the J4 in the set, but the Ornn provides so much disruption in these fights, protects you from kind of everything that the enemy team wants to do, and they just got 4-man killed. And now Wukong is able to go top, push a little, relieve some of the pressure that Orange Slices has been putting on the map. And we do have the Elder Dragon coming up in 1 minute, so that's something to look forward. Because if Melon Boys are able to sneak that Elder Dragon or steal that Elder Dragon away from Orange Slices, they may be able to come back in this game, because Elder Dragon is just such a strong buff at this point in the game, where if you're getting people low enough, then they're just gone. And we did see a quick flash from Muffin trying to get away from the Jarvan in the blue side jungle.
Exactly, only 20 seconds left on this Elder Drake. Positioning here for Orange Slices, so they're looking just to wrest all the vision back into their favor as they reset on the map. Have to just make sure that they don't group, as all of those AoE rockets coming through from the Jinx on top of the Melon Lord. He hasn't got any kills, but he's definitely bringing the damage out to play today.
Right. And there's the Ornn TP. Just trying to set up for this. I will say that Orange Slices are a bit ahead of play here. They had already set up.
They group, they're controlling the choke points coming to theirs. The Drake goes down to half health, but here comes Muffin Incarnate trying to look for something in the bottom lane. Nice little bit of an engage. Boomslang goes into the back, forces a flash out of it, and now here comes the heal. He's looking to kite, flashes away. Muffin can potentially pick it back up, and he looks to go back into the fight. Boots No JS is still alive. Falls into the root there, suplex back. Muffin's still alive as well. He's got the GA, it's going to be able to proc, but a little bit of a messy encounter coming out. Boots JS goes back into it. He went a little bit early though. Can he secure it? No, not quite. That's going to be GA procs as well. They can look to trade for this and get the 2 inhibitors down in the bottom lane. Maybe even push to the end if they go mid. Just 5-man stack. Look for that as they've absolutely routed Melon Boys here in the first game. This is a best of 3. Maybe looking forward to that nemesis drop in game number 3 if you get there. That means Melon Boys will have to win game number 2, as this does look like the win coming out for my mum bought Orange Slices.
Exactly. I mean, kind of what I was talking about in that last fight. Now that you get the interrupts the Wukong so well. You get the Call of the Forge God, and what's the Wukong gonna fight? He just gets knocked up, he gets CC'd, and he just dies. And you saw that Boomslang was all over the Jinx in that fight. Jinx was unable to do anything, almost killed the J4 in the fight, but just wasn't able to close out the kill, and then the Flag and Drag got her. And that's game 1.
Exactly, Faraz. Going forward over to your mum brought Orange Slices. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back into the lobby for game number 2 here at the Quarantine Cup at Pepega.